I talked about it before recording here, but looking on the other side for the St. Louis Blues, do you see that? I mean, I know you mentioned you think if they were in the East, they'd have a better shot of like a wild card. I don't know. I look at the Metro. I think that might be tougher. Obviously, the Atlantic's pretty set in terms of the top four, and that hasn't changed. I mean, based on what we were seeing right now.
Hmm.
Do you think St. Louis is moving that direction? Like, I look at a guy like Brandon Saad, who might be on trade rumors here. He's a healthy scratch. They've got like so many capable NHL forwards. Captain went through waivers, claimed by Edmonton. So, what's your perspective on St. Louis? Because I could see a guy like Saad being traded. I wonder if at some point they revisit the value of Buchnevich and consider bringing up their younger guys because they have Bolduc, they have Dvorsky coming. They could probably get a lot for Buchnevich, Riley. And I know the Rangers are looking. I'm just saying Saad is also former teammates with Vinny Trocheck with the Saginaw Spirit. So there's some connections there. That's all I'm saying.
There would be a big price tag on Buchnevich, and I think teams would be willing to pay it. It would be so bad for them to lock him up to a huge extension and then trade him in the following season. Um, Saad with his contract and like what he's been doing this year, I don't know if he gets traded in a cap dump or if there's a team like the Flyers last year who paid a third for Eric Johnson when Eric
Yeah.
Johnson was just so clearly terrible. Like I don't know if Saad gets traded and you're like, oh, this is a cap dump move, or if Saad gets traded and like it's a contending team that wants him. So yeah, I don't know. The Blues, like you said, they have so many NHL caliber forwards. I don't know if there's like a spot where like you want to get rid of Buchnevich to move a guy up the lineup. I think like their depth pieces are more depth pieces. There's not really guys in the third and fourth line that I'd be like, yeah, we got to get that guy some more minutes. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my only argument would be in like the signs that Hathaway has shown, and then like the year that Jake Neighbors is having. Like St. Louis is looking really good in terms of some of the younger players, and like I said, I think Dvorsky's going to be a stud. So I'm with you. The other connection I actually just thought about, and I searched it up. Saad actually saw Tortorella for a couple of years in Columbus, so that's another interesting one. I mean, maybe Philly could be an interesting team there. I think Saad's also from Pittsburgh, so. Maybe. I know the Penguins are always looking for value, maybe in terms of, I mean, Nola Chari's a former Blue. I'm just trying to throw the connections out there. But
Yeah,
I will say St. Louis is an interesting one for me, man, because I don't think they're going to go all in for like a playoff push. But a move like this kind of signals that they're still trying to compete for the playoffs. So I think they're in that mindset, especially with Montgomery coming in. But at the same time, I think that they might also offload guys. So Brandon Saad, or yeah, you're right. I mean, they just signed Buchnevich long term, so maybe it's not him this year. But I think some of those veteran forwards in that lineup, maybe they consider moving. Uh,
just one more thing
yeah,
before if I didn't know if you're gonna move on there, but the Blues like in the West, I feel like the West is so good. Like looking at who's in the playoffs right now, I think those teams are gonna stick. And I don't know, they just seem like a team that they're so like just good, not good enough to make the playoffs, but they're nowhere near the bottom, and they're a team that could be stuck in those middling like years where they get no top draft picks. Like they're picking like 10 to 20 every year. They're not like I could see that for the foreseeable future, especially with this Cam Fowler move. Now they're just making it more just an above average team. And yeah, like I said earlier, like I think in the East they're a good team, no doubt, but in the West they're kind of in that middle ground. So they need to make a choose a direction, make a
yeah.
bigger move, bring somebody in. I don't know.
No, I'm 100% with you. I think if there's one thing that bothers me with any team, and I mean, I saw it with my team for so many years, is like staying in that middle ground, like finishing eighth, ninth, or 10th. And for the case of playoffs, like ninth or 10th, and you don't get a good draft pick, you don't make playoffs, there's no positive, like
Yeah.
more forward movement there. So,
Hmm.
yeah, no, that's my perspective. The only other thing I forgot to mention before, and then yeah, we'll move on, is also, I had proposed this a few years ago. John Gibson, I believe, is also from Pennsylvania. I think Pittsburgh. And again, Jari's look better, so maybe there's some value to at least try to not make it as much as a cap dump as it was before. I don't know. I'm just saying Anaheim's looking for assets. They definitely want to give Dostal the reins. So maybe there's a scenario where Pittsburgh attaches some assets to Jari, flips to Anaheim, John Gibson. Again, I'm just saying for the
Maybe they
fact
don't
that
even have to.
maybe you don't have to, but all I'm saying is Pittsburgh is rolling again, man. And somehow they're right back in that conversation. if Sid's actually serious about sticking with the Pens and making it work, I think they need a goalie. Talk about a team that needs a goalie. I'm sure Jari could light it up for stretches again, but he just showed that you can't rely on him because he could just default to that crappy goalie again. And again, as respectful as I could put it, what Jari was doing at the start of the year is not anywhere near NHL caliber. So I think if he's, I mean, there's been a couple of games he has like a 925 save percentage lately. So if you can try to trade him and John Gibson could be available, I say Pittsburgh does it.